everybody, and welcome to the latest episode of Slice TV. I'm here with CEO of Bombora Wave Power, Sam Layton, to talk about wave power and basically really wave power in Australia. So firstly, Sam, welcome. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good to see you. Now, what is Bombora Wave Power?
Bombora Wave Power is a company that was formed by two brothers who were very interested in developing a product that could harness the world's vast ocean energy in the form of wave power.
Okay then, that sounds interesting. I like where that's coming from. But how did you get the name Bombora? What's that?
Bombora is an Aboriginal word. It relates to submerged reef offshore. And this is very much like a Bombora wave energy collector. It is fully submerged, fully under the sea, and it's well offshore. It's fully invisible. It's been a core focus of the company to develop a product that is fully acceptable to the public. The pristine ocean environment is very key to all our hearts. People can still go out there and enjoy their windsurfing, what do they want to do. So yes, it's been very fundamental to our product development, has been making sure we have minimal impact, create energy without disturbing the environment.
I like that line, creating energy without disturbing the environment. What is M-Wave? What does that mean?
M-Wave stands for membrane wave, or membrane wave energy converter. It's won innovation awards, several innovation awards, and this has been focused around the fact that it is a very innovative way of harnessing ocean energy, fully submerged, out of sight. The device rests on the sea floor at a depth of 10 metres, so 60 metres long and 15 metres wide, and you can see from the scale of the diver there, that is a large device. And basically it's a concrete structure covered with 8 membranes. Now, as the waves pass over the device, the membranes flex and pump air through the turbine at the end of the device. So as we zoom in here, you'll see the membrane flexing on the left-hand side of the image, pumping air along through the turbine, and then back into the device. So the air is recirculated through the device. As the waves pass over the device, the membranes flex, pumping air through a turbine. That spinning motion generates electricity in the generator, which is then taken to shore.
What is it that Bombora has actually developed that makes this unique then? What is it? What's the part of this? Is it the membrane that I'm looking at here, those lineups of the membrane and how the air comes through it? Or is it something to do with this, where the diver is on the right-hand side? Is it in there that the technology is different? What is it that actually makes it special?
The unique technology that Bombora has developed is the way to extract the wave energy from the water. So in this case, it's actually to do with the way the membranes are orientated and the way they move in response to the waves.
So it is that lineup of those membranes there, the way they're moving together, that wave energy as it comes over, is the trick.
That's the trick. The rest of the parts are actually quite conventional. It's a concrete structure mounted on the sea floor. The turbine is fairly standard. The generator is standard. The cable to shore is standard. All these other parts are actually standard industrial products. So the special part in this case is in fact the membranes and the way they are extracting energy from the ocean.
So where that diver is on the right-hand side there, just that part of it actually getting the energy membranes done, that's not the tricky bit, but on the left-hand there where those membranes are and how they're structured in that cement.
That's right. The way they respond to the wave's pressure, that's the trick. That's where the patents are. That's how we're protecting it.
And that's where all the research has gone into.
That's right. And that's been, I guess, the unique discovery by the Bombora team has been the way we extract energy. That's the heart of the matter, yes.
Have you made up little ponds and little mini versions of this, or is it something you just have to actually do on a science on the computers? And
it's been a combination of the both. So a lot of the initial development was done in a bathtub, of all places. That then evolved into proper wave tanks where, like a large swimming pool, you create waves and test small-scale devices. It progressed then into mid-scale devices with moderate-sized waves. All that has been supported by complex computer simulations of the device at the same time. So it's really been a combination of, initial testing with in the bathtub, followed by complex engineering through computer modelling.
So I guess it comes down to, Sam, how much power can M-Wave generate?
Each M wave is a 1.5 megawatt device, and you're thinking, what's a 1.5 megawatt device? But maybe to put it a little bit in easy to understand terms, 40 of these devices in a wave farm would provide enough power to supply a city the size of Albany, so 14,000 homes. On a rough day, of course, it'll supply much more than that.
Okay, how long this has been in the development stage for?
So the two brothers, Glenn and Sean, they commenced development of this 8 years ago. So it's taken quite a while to perfect the technique, but we've gone through many trials and we're now moving forward into full scale. The M-Wave is unique and it sits or rests on the sea floor, so waves pass over the device. So we aren't trying to stop the waves, we're actually resting beneath the surface of the sea, absorbing the pressure of the waves as they go past. Nearly all other devices that have been under development are up at the surface of the ocean, and they respond to the surge of the wave or the change in height of the wave. The trouble with all these devices is when the waves get very large, these devices have to try and withstand those large waves. And so it gets very difficult. And many of the devices that have been developed have been just destroyed in the storms. We have the protection of being beneath the surface on the seafloor. So the bigger the wave, it just rolls past over the top. We aren't trying to resist and stop the wave.
Does this mean it captures more energy from the waves or less energy by being lower down? And how does that differentiate, I guess, in its...
Interestingly, we're collecting energy through pressure. And the pressure of the wave, in fact, around 80% of the wave's energy gets to the sea floor. So we're operating at a depth of 10 metres, and 80% of the pressure of the wave is reaching that depth. So even though we're below the surface, away from the damaging storm waves, we still get 80% of the energy.
So I guess where are you guys at as far as having this as a realistic technology that can generate energy?
So we've now gone through the full feasibility phase, which has demonstrated that we can produce low-cost energy. It's shown that our device, in a relatively short time, will be competitive with offshore wind and solar. It's a very exciting time for the company because we can now see that we have a device that both it survives because it's beneath the sea. It's invisible. People are not going to be disturbed by having these offshore wave farms because you won't see it. You can still go and use the space. Thirdly, and perhaps almost as important as all the other things, is we can compete on a level basis with other renewable energy sources. So we're able to now tap into the vast wave energy resource around the world, vast coastlines, waves are always there. We're able to produce electricity from these waves and feed that into the grid, and people will be able to use it in their homes without an impediment, without an increased cost.
Now, being invisible, you've said that a few times. I guess is that a very key part to wave energy where Bombora is wanting to go, is being so you can't see it, people can still utilise the area?
Yes, it's very central to what we've been doing. The two brothers, when they initially started the development, had a focus on making sure that there was no community pushback on this technology. There has been pushback on windmills, the power generation windmills, and they were very focused on making sure that the beautiful ocean environment wasn't affected by this device. Harness the energy, but don't change the environment. So yes, it's very central to our theme. In fact, it's our brand. Invisibly powering our homes. So yes, it's very central that we want to be sure that we're in harmony with the environment.
So Sam, tell me a little bit about yourself, your background, and how you ended up in wave energy.
My background is I'm an automotive engineer by trade. My focus has been on commercialisation. I've always loved the ocean as well. And I think this is, for me, it's a marriage of my desire to be involved in an industry that will both address a need, but also benefit mankind. When I looked at Bombora, I thought, this is just a fantastic innovative way of looking at harnessing ocean energy, harnessing wave energy, addressing the human sort of influence because we're invisible. With not too much extra work, we actually take this through to production. And that's what I'm really interested in, is making sure that in the future we can see wave energy become part of the renewable energy mix, joining wind and solar. The device is not all that complex, but what it needs is a real commercialisation focus, and that's what I'm hoping to bring to this company, is making sure we get the right partnerships in the industry, making sure we look at the right markets to go into so that we can go to the market.
So how do you go about that? What are the partnerships? Where do you look for this?
So we're a small company, but we're trying to deal in the large utility power market. That means we need to align ourselves with the utility power constructors, so the big offshore fabrication, deployment, maintenance companies. So we are at the moment building relationships through all that area to make sure that we are able to in fact commercialise this technology. So certainly in terms of being on the sea floor out of the damaging storm conditions means that the cost of our device is significantly less. And this is very important when it comes time to sell the power. We want a low cost device that delivers lots of energy. And in this case, because we're on the sea floor, we can access the energy but not have to withstand the storms, which means we have a low cost.
Okay, so what's been the response then from the market? How have they taken to Bombora or been watching?
All the companies we speak to are very intrigued and then interested and then excited because they see that we have solved one of the big challenges, which is storm survival. It's very timely for us to be coming onto the market because the oil and gas market is somewhat depressed right now. We offer them a vision for the future because we're in the renewable space, we have a good technology, they have all the capabilities, so it's an ideal marriage.
It's awesome having this great technology. How confident are you that this is going to be your technology and not taken over by some other company?
So the Bombora technology is patent protected and we continue to evolve this patent protection as we go forward. So yes, we're very confident it is protected globally. One of the core activities of the group is to ensure we have both a good understanding of the technology, how it works, what makes it work, but also protecting that know-how as well.
Now, I noticed that you're going to be going to Europe to try out some of your technology in Portugal. Why Portugal and why Europe?
Europe tends to be the leader in the renewable energy space. They have been leaders in energy for quite some time. And in Europe, there's a number of things that are going on. They've got schemes where they're encouraging people to come and try their products there to try and create the market. So they're providing incentives in terms of feed-in tariffs, providing incentives in terms of gazetting spaces to do the development, in terms of providing grants to help assist the initial ramp-up phase. And so we just see that Europe has got the right environment right now for us to start. We, of course, want to come back to Australia. We've got a great energy resource here in Australia, vast coastlines, good waves. So we'd like to come here and put our devices here. And as I mentioned before, the cost of our devices is going to come down very rapidly. And at that point, it makes sense to do in Australia.
Which leads me nicely to, okay, you've mentioned Australia, coastline, there's water all over, we're surrounded by water. We are needing innovative technology and new developments because of this boom-bust economy we sort of be living here, especially here in Perth. Is there something Australia's doing wrong here, Sam, that we need to focus on to try to keep companies like yours doing the development here in Australia?
I don't think there's anything wrong. We have in Australia, and we're harnessing in Australia, very innovative people. And it makes sense for us to do the smart things, the innovative things here. So we intend to keep the engineering based here in Australia, but it makes sense for us to deploy the first few devices in Europe. That's where the market is being drawn, being created through the benefits or the easy entry points they've created for us. So it just means that if we go to Europe in the short term, we can do our production launch more quickly. and then come back to Australia and roll out here. So it's a case of, in Australia, we can harness the local talent, go to Europe, do some initial trials, get the initial product rollout, and then come back to Australia and, as you say, harness a great wave resource.
Yeah, I mean, so I keep reading regularly on social media, different European countries leading the way in how they're using renewable energy to meet targets of their power consumption, and to great figures. Yet Australia's not quite there yet. We haven't got there.
Europe has just progressed more quickly. If you talk to people in Europe, renewable energy, the transition away from coal-fired power stations to renewable energy, it's just a part of life. Everyone is on board and it's very well accepted. So I don't think that's quite here in Australia just yet. And I think there's an empathy towards renewable energy, but it's not quite as evolved as it is in Europe.
So how does Bombora's technology with M-Wave sit in the world market? What's been the response?
So we're seeing very positive feedback as we go forward. As I mentioned, in Europe, they've gazetted sites. Basically, they're trying to get us to come to all these different sites. So we see a very positive pull from that side. We're seeing interest from the large infrastructure manufacturers to be involved in the business. So yes, I think it's a very positive response. The European Commission, CSIRO in Australia, they've all been projecting a very large uptake of wave energy into the future. What they're lacking is a good product to do it with. Mm-hmm. What we're offering is the right product. We're just going through now the final stages of pilot trials rollout, and then we look forward to then meeting these projections of the contribution wave energy will make into the renewable energy mix in the future.
What is the next step, or where to now?
Well, we're ramping up, getting more people on board. We're going through some final design phases right now, with a view to rolling out the pilot and then expanding into full wave farms. So yes, the future is very exciting. We've done a lot of good work up till now. Now we're really down to the final stage before we start rolling out into wave farms. Yes, a very interesting time over the next 12, 18 months for us.
Well, we'll definitely watch in this space, Sam. Thank you very much for your time. And thank you everyone for watching. Till next time, stay tuned. Bye for now.